So we're going to kind of review the properties of real numbers in this lesson. This is a table of all the properties. I suggest either taking a screenshot or writing these down. So we'll go over them really quick. The commutative property, commute just means to change order. So you notice for addition and multiplication, the only difference is one is adding and one is multiplying. And it's saying that if you switch the order, then the statements are still true, that they'll still be equal. So in other words, if I have 3 plus 2, it's going to be the same thing as 2 plus 3. Same with multiplication. With associative, the thing you want to be able to understand is you're not changing order at all. So what I do is I look at the order first. This is x, then y, then z, x, then y, then z. So they're staying in the same order. It's just a parentheses move. That's the associative property. Addition and multiplication, again, are different. One is adding and one is multiplying. Identity property is just, I always think of it as how to keep the number's identity. So if you're given a number, what do you add to it to stay the same? So if you have 2, what do you add to 2 to keep 2? And it is 0. So with adding, you want to add 0, but with multiplying, in order to stay the same, you have to multiply by 1. And then they show the different order. That's just the commutative property. So in adding, it doesn't matter if you do the 0 first. But if you're staying the same, if you're given a number and it's equal to the number after you add, then it's identity, or after you multiply. The inverse property is just adding opposites and multiplying reciprocals. So when we add opposites, we get 0. So that's the inverse property, is if you do like 3 plus -3, you're going to get 0. For the inverse property of multiplication, when we multiply reciprocals together, we're going to get 1. The distributive property is basically when you multiply a number on the outside of a set of parentheses where there's adding or subtracting, you have to multiply that number by each part inside the parentheses. So in this case, it would be x times y plus x times z. And it doesn't matter if it's on the outside, you still would do z times x plus z times y. And then the property of 0 is just when you multiply by 0, you get 0. So again, I would definitely have these handy as you do the problems so that you can refer to them. So either pause my video and write them down or take a screenshot. Okay, here, the first thing I look at is, did the order change? So we have 7D5, 7D5. The order did not change, so it's not commutative. The parentheses did, so it's associative. And because they're adding, it's going to be of addition. Here we're multiplying reciprocals and getting 1. That's called the inverse property. So when we multiply reciprocals, we're multiplying additive. We want the multiplicative inverse because we're multiplying. This is the inverse for addition. So when you add opposites, you get 0. Here is when we're multiplying by parentheses and then you have to distribute. So this is the distributive property. And we'll do one more set. It just has 4 in each one. Let's start here, the first one. Okay. So we're adding opposites, so that's the inverse for adding, so additive inverse. This is another distributive property one. We have to make sure we're taking that 9 and timesing it by both. Here the order doesn't change, 5, 6A, 5, 6A. It's associative, but it's multiplying. So we're going to come down to associative property multiplication. And here we're keeping D, we're keeping the identity, so this is multiplicative identity. Multiplicative, fun word to say. Okay, that's the end of the lesson. Good luck, and I hope that this video helps you out.